Hello everybody, I'm Lucy Kennedy and you're all so welcome to this week's Ask the Squad. Joining me as always is our panel of experts from the VHI Health Squad who are here to answer your questions and also offer some advice on how we can all take a more holistic approach to our health. Joining us today is health coach Martina Breen and sleep expert Tom Coleman. Hi guys.
Hi.
How are we doing?
Excellent, very good.
Good. Okay, here's today's question now. Okay, how do I deal with anxiety about going back to work after quarantine? I'm not sleeping well and I'm worried about how the stress will affect my health. We'll start with you, Martina. What do you reckon? Because first of all, everyone's nervous that going back to work, it mightn't be a safe environment to work in.
So the most important thing, I think, is to realize we have control over some things and we don't have control over others. So if we can focus on what I have control over, I can look after my own workspace. I can look after my own hygiene. I can wash my hands. I can, what's the part I can control over and what's the part I'm not? There's lots of information out there. The HSE has going back to work documentation. So I would recommend for people, read it, be informed. No, because the more knowledge we have, the more we feel we have control, the less anxiety we have. All we can do is start with ourselves and take the recommended precautions. But it is a stressful time. People are worried, especially if they're going out and they have a lot of contact with people and then they're coming home. Maybe they have vulnerable people at home, that they just have to be more careful around. And, this level of care, self-care is going to be with us for a while. So it is a new normal.
It'd be quite strange for people, and I understand this question, from being at home, it's quite nice and peaceful. Going back into a really busy office, different people, different personalities. It's quite a lot to kind of take in. It could be quite overwhelming.
Yes, and some people are looking forward to that, to actually going back and into actually meeting people. But it's like it's another transition. And the difference is that we didn't get actually any warning of it at the beginning coming out. It was boom, we were in it. But here we have time to think, which can be either time to be excited or time to become anxious, because both of those put on the same continuum. So it's, really maybe get into your routine the week or a couple of weeks before you go back to work.
Yeah, that's good advice. So try and get into your pre-going back to work routine. So get up, get dressed, do what you would.
Do what you would do, and then with going back into work, it's just take it one day at a time. You've been through this before. Remind yourself, I know this workplace. I know the people here.
I know what I'm doing. I know my job.
I know my job. Yes, there's going to be a little bit of transition time, but it's, we have to actually remind ourselves, I'm okay here. Yeah, I'm feeling a bit anxious or a bit stressed, but, breathe.
Yeah.
It sounds simple, but that's what we have to do, is to remember to breathe.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, I know me anyway, and we've talked about this for the last few weeks, mindfulness and stuff, that I have kind of, I think, slowed down a little bit, and people should probably bring their new habits back to work because it can only be beneficial.
Making a decision, yes, I am going to get outside and get fresh air on my lunch break. Yes. I am going to develop start times and end times. Or for those of us that continue to work from home but are working more full-time, that this more work ethic is around, the busyness and the work atmosphere, that to still work at having a start time, a finish time, scheduling in our breaks, getting outside, getting fresh air, getting exercise. It takes a decision and it takes discipline to introduce any new habit into our lives. So to say, right, this is another transition. It's great to be coming back to some form of normality, but I want to bring my self-care with me.
Good advice. And Tom, then, sleep the night before going back to work, checking the alarm 16 times.
Now, firstly, the important thing I want to talk about is sort of tell people that, look, it's not the night before, it's the week before, it's 10 days before. Well, if we assess fatigue in people or in a group, which I have done, we'd never look at one night, and we'd always look at like the days leading up to gather enough data to gain an understanding. So people shouldn't worry about the night before going back, and that kind of anticipatory anxiety is what we expend a lot of energy on, and it is very common for people to do that. And you know what? I think we all know this. It's never as bad as it is in our heads.
Thank God I don't have it anymore because I love what I do, but I have experienced in previous jobs the Sunday night fear.
Oh, the Sunday night fear.
Awful.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's very common again, and when I speak at organizations and companies, and maybe people have 2 or 3 or 4 days off, and I tell them, that problem I say, look, I know that you can't sleep the night before, the Sunday night, or whatever it may be, and they go, God, how did you know? And I said, everyone is the same, again, going back to the pattern of the routine, I've worked with sort of elite athletes, and the way they overcome this is through having a strategy, and through realizing that they can overcome it, having little cognitive tricks that they do as well. And once you start to overcome it, you get the confidence and the belief, and then you nurture that instead of the worry and the anxiety, and you go, sure, you know what, I'm fine. The Sunday night fever is hugely common. So again, practice the meditation, practice the routine, focus what's in front of you, and you will overcome it, and believe and know that you can.
Okay, and finally, and I know I'm always talking about this, but the fear that your body won't wake up to your alarm, so then you're waking up 16 times checking it.
Yeah, the whole alarm clock issue, and people hitting the snooze button and everything like that.
Yeah.
That's another thing that we have to get a handle on. And the way we get a handle on that is by looking at our 90-minute sleep cycles, planning our sleep, and sort of adhering to that. And waking up every hour and with the phone. I mean, if you bring the phone into the bedroom, if you're highly involved, and if you're not, if we have what's called the untrained mind, if you're just allowing your mind to worry about these things, that's what's going to happen. If your focus is on the alarm clock and the worry and getting up and missing and all that kind of thing, then your subconscious will wake you up with that. When we're asleep and we're dreaming, it's a simulated opportunity to deal with stress, and so your brain will actually wake you up looking for the alarm, checking the alarm. So as disconnected from that as you can be, please do. So by that I mean no disruptions, do not disturb, set your alarm, and get up on the first alarm, and not to be kind of drawing out the snooze button. Because I mean, if you're setting an alarm to go to bed to remind you, that's what I call a reverse snooze button. That's what we should be focusing on, rather than hitting the snooze button 10 times.
Set your alarm to go to bed. That's a good idea.
Yeah, because I mean, you're putting thought into your sleep pattern. You're going, okay, I need my 7.5 hours. I'm getting up at 7:30, so I need to be asleep at 12, which means I need to be in bed at maybe 11 or 11:30.
Yeah.
15, and so you're strategically doing everything, and then you get a result, and then you repeat that, and that's how we build the connections in our brain to train our brain. We have the capability, so that's how we do it. Rather than just looking at the stress or the worry about getting up or the going back to work, we're focused on the process rather than the outcome.
Thank you to our experts as always. Thank you to Tom, and of course to Martina. And remember, guys, if you have any questions for Ask the Squad, just head to the VHI website, vhi.ie, Ask the Squad.